Some can heal, but this won't. So before you go, was there something I could have said to make your heart beat better? If only I'd have known you were the storm to weather. So before you go, was there something I could have said to make it all stop hurting? It kills me how your mind can make you feel so worthless. So before you go, we'll be better off by now. If I let my walls come down, maybe I guess we'll never know. You know, you know. Before you go, was there something I could have said to make your heart beat better? If only I'd have known you were the storm to weather. So before you go, was there something I could have said to make it all stop hurting? It kills me how your mind can make you feel so worthless. So before you go. I'm going on during this time. I feel there's no one to save me. This all and nothing really got away, you're driving me crazy. I need somebody to hear, somebody to know, somebody to have, somebody to hold. It's easy to say, but it's never the same. I guess I kinda like the way you numbed all the pain. Now the day bleeds into nightfall, and you're not here to get me through it all. I let my guard down, and then you pulled the rug. I was getting kinda used to being someone you loved. I'm going under, and this time I feel there's no one to turn to. This all and nothing way of loving, go be sleeping without you. Now I need somebody to know, somebody to hear, somebody to have, just to know how it feels. It's easy to say, but it's never the same. I guess I kinda like the way you help me escape. Now the day bleeds into nightfall, and you're not here to get me through it all. I let my guard down, and then you pulled the rug. I was getting kinda used to being someone you loved, and I tend to close my eyes when it hurts. Sometimes I fall into your arms. I'll be safe in your soul till I come back around. For now the day bleeds into nightfall, and you're not here to get me through it all. I let my guard down, and then you pulled the rug. I was getting kinda used to being someone you love, but now the day bleeds into nightfall, and you're not here to get me through it all. I let my guard down, and then you pulled the rug. I was getting kinda used to being someone you loved. I let my guard down, and then you pulled the rug. I was getting kinda used to being someone you loved. as I let you go. Gonna tell you how much I love you, though you think you already know. I remember I thought you looked like an angel wrapped in pink, so soft and warm. You've had me wrapped around your finger since the day you were born. You're beautiful, baby, from the outside in. Chase your dreams, but always know the road that'll lead you home again. Go on, take on this old world, but to me, you know you'll always be my little girl. When you were in trouble, that crooked little smile milled my heart of stone. Now look at you, I've turned around and you've almost grown. Sometimes you're asleep, I whisper I love you in the moonlight at your door. As I walk away, I hear you say, Daddy, love you more. You're beautiful, baby, from the outside in. Chase your dreams, but always know the road that'll lead you home again. Go on, take on this whole world, but to me, you know you'll always be my little girl. Someday some boy will come and ask me for your hand, but I won't say yes to him unless I know he's the half that makes you whole. He has a poet's soul and the heart of a man's man. I know he'll say that he's in love, but between you and me, he won't be good enough. You're beautiful, baby, from the outside in. Chase your dreams, but always know the road that'll lead you home again.
We're going to get started now. If you need to find a seat, we still have a few more seats around the corner up here as well as in here. My name is Greg Chapman, and I'm a minister that is serving here at Miller Funeral Home. Kelly and Roland, your daughter Cydni's passing is obviously heartrending. For you, Adam and Carly, this devastating and tragic loss of your sister sadly jolted your very lives and souls. Family and friends here today, they love Cydni and they share your grief at her loss. Psalm 116 verse 15 tells us the Lord cares deeply when his loved ones die. Amazingly, God can mourn with you at the same time that he loves having Cydni with him in heaven. God did not cause Cydni's death. However, he did allow it. Through his grace and love, God may have spared Cydni from an even greater evil or pain that only he could foresee. But most importantly, God enriched his kingdom with Cydni's presence. Please bow your heads with me in prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you for Cydni's life and the love and the joy that she shared with those here today. She is with you now. Her demons are vanquished and Cydni is at peace. Father, help us to remember the good times with Cydni and to share them with each other today, tomorrow, and into the future. Please guide us in seeking you so that we can be reunited with Cydni in your glorious, eternal kingdom. In Jesus' name, amen. Cydni's cousin Allison has some scripture and some remarks to share with you. Allison?
Hello, everybody. So I was just telling Mom I'm either going to be able to read this with no emotion or just cry through the whole thing. So please bear with me. Okay. When I think of Cydni, I can do it. Okay. Okay. When I think of Cydni, I think of singing in the car, loud, hanging out late at night, and laughing a lot. I remember having deep conversations and how she always heard me out. I remember I know me and John Sam could have just been the annoying little cousins because we were really small. But she chose to invest in us instead. She played our games, and she had countless goofy photo shoots with us, let us hang out with their friends, and she dressed me up when I didn't feel beautiful. She always encouraged me to be confident and to go for whatever I wanted. Overall, she chose to treat me with love instead of pushing me away and ignoring me. I think I did that to my younger cousins, but she didn't do that to me. Cydni made me feel welcome. Her relationship with me and my brother reminds me of Jesus' character. In the Gospels, there are countless examples of how Jesus saw people's needs and loved them before making any judgments about them, and I think she lived that out very, very well. In Genesis 50:20, a man of God said to those who had done great evil to him, "As for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good." Losing Cydni for me is losing a light of laughter, compassion, kindness, and so much more. What took her was darkness and pure evil. And to me, I can't fathom why God, my good, loving God, allows this evil and darkness to go on. I really don't, and I can't think of a silver lining. I can't think of a positive. But I do understand that Genesis 50:20 reminds me how he does turn the evils of this world into good. And I don't understand how, but I can trust him, even though I don't know how he will. Just as we can trust the sun will rise without understanding the mechanics of it. So I just want to leave you all with this as we hurt and ache at her absence. This is from Psalm 46. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth gives way, though the mountains be moved into the heart of the sea, and though the waters roar and foam, though the mountains tremble at its swelling. He makes war cease to the end of the earth. He breaks the bow and shatters the spear. He burns the chariots with fire. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress.
Thank you, Allison. Cydni's life began so promisingly in Lake Charles, Louisiana on December 31st, 1976. She was a bright and beautiful baby, and she developed into an active, athletic, and outgoing child. Cydni loved her family, had many friends, and grew up loving Jesus in her family's church. In 2006, the family relocated from Louisiana to California. Now, Dad and all the kids dyed their hair blonde to celebrate their arrival in California. There were many wonderful times. Whitewater rafting with the family on various forks of the American River, as well as the Rogue River in Oregon. Kelly was a traveling nurse, and in the summers, Adam, Carly, and Cydni journeyed with Mom all over California and the West. There were many wonderful times and experiences. Cydni loved all animals, enjoyed training dogs. She especially loved pit bulls because they were often seen as outcast dogs. Cydni volunteered at the Grace Foundation in El Dorado Hills, taking care of rescued horses. Her family thought that someday she might become a canine trainer for the police, or maybe even a veterinarian. Aunt Susie described how Cydni was very handy with tools. She could assemble and repair almost anything. Susie gave Cydni a pink tool belt and a toolbox, a pink toolbox. Cydni always wanted to be involved with everyone and everything. She wanted to be included. Although you may not have wanted to see her attempt to dance, and maybe especially if she would try to chew gum at the same time. There are so many ways to describe the various aspects of Cydni's loving personality and her wonderful character traits. And I want to encourage you, her family and friends, to share your relationship with Cydni over the course of this service. There's going to be an open mic in a short while where we'll allow anyone that wants to come up and say something about their relationship with Cydni. So what happened? Why are we here? As a teenager, she was exposed to people and things there of a negative influence. This occurred at a vulnerable time when her parents' marriage was breaking up. Perhaps the drugs were an attempt to medicate some inner pain, or maybe they were just for fun. Either way, the drugs took over. The struggle continued even though Cydni was determined to turn her life around. 3 years ago, Cydni had a beautiful baby girl and named her Violet. It soon became apparent that Cydni was unable to care for her daughter. Violet is in the process of being adopted by Cydni's father's twin brother, Ronald Freeland, and his wife, Courtney. And what a blessing that this beautiful young girl will be raised up by loving family as well as having the help of her natural extended family. At this time, Cydni's brother Adam has a message to share with you about his sister. Adam?
Thank you all for joining us today. Cydni, it's not easy, this life thing. It certainly has its twists and its turns. Everyone has their own way of doing things, their own way to untie this knot called life. For some, the motions come naturally. The necessary steps are readily discernible. For others, the knot thickens the further along things go. No one gets through life without struggling with it, but ideally we should all end up with a solid, untangled, well-managed unit of life. Cydni, like all of us, had quite the knot to unravel, and she had her own unique way of untying it. Cydni adopted this all-or-nothing approach to life. You were either all the way in or you were all the way out. There was no in-between. It was her own way of sorting through the phonies, the pretenders, the fake news. She had such a love for people. Whether you were in or out, she loved unconditionally. It was through the providence of her upbringing to be kind and accommodating. She generously and gratuitously gave to others, to people, and took on their burdens. To Cydni, the way to unravel the knot was to first help someone else unravel theirs. When we were just kids growing up in Lake Charles, there was one particular Christmas where Mom and Dad surprised us with this yellow go-kart with only 2 seats. And naturally, we gave it the biggest test ride any piece of machinery should receive. I told Carly, since I had known her the longest, that she could be the first to ride with me as co-pilot. So, Cydni had a better idea. She squeezed herself between the two of us, half on our laps, half on the seat, and she said we could proceed. We did not sacrifice speed. We muddied up the go-kart really good. And Cydni did not go flying out of the cage, even though I tried to get her out with a couple high-speed donuts. Well, as you know, Cydni has a New Year's birthday, and so to treat and to honor herself, she decided to take Carly out for a ride on the go-kart. Of course, without home base authorization. And you know how the story gets gray about who exactly crashed into the big tree. But aside from the go-kart and my pride, my sisters were not hurt. Cydni even let me know she was able to do a couple of donuts. Carly, maybe I should have picked her to be my co-pilot first. Maybe I would still have the old go-kart, and I could style up to the firm end. Cydni was pretty fearless, and for some reason she loved heavy machinery. We were spending the weekend at our aunt's in Cuero, Texas, Aunt Suzanne's, and the whole family was there. And I'm talking all the third and fourth cousins, and our cousin Leslie took us out for a tour on the ATV to see the sights, the tumbleweeds and all that. The farm was beautiful. Since Leslie knew me the longest, she said that I could take the ATV out and give it a ride, and I could pick the people to go with me. Well, I had all my older cousins with me at the time, so naturally I selected them, and we all went out, and Cydni was left behind. But of course, Cydni was going to ride that ATV one way or the other. So when we all got back, we parked the ATV, we went inside for some food. Cydni figured out how to get the ATV up and running. And we're talking about a 6-wheel, 2-ton, all-terrain vehicle. She had her joyride, and we were just about to start our family washerboard tournament when she came running up. She was running on foot, no ATV. She had her hand flopping around at her side. She had dislocated her wrist flipping the ATV. My nana brought her in, and when Dad saw her hand, he dropped to the floor. Cydni was a trooper, though. She was a trooper all the way through. She truly was fearless. I should have been better about including Cydni more in what we did together. She was always fighting for her right to be included. I think that is why she was so open with others. She never wanted someone to feel left out. I think back to all the times that I could have done more. And about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I spoke with Cydni on the phone, and she asked if I was planning on coming for Christmas. I told her that a Christmas trip wasn't out of the question, that of course I would like to see her, that we should all get together, but I decided not to go. I know several people that had recently traveled and contracted coronavirus, and so naturally that was my reaction. The irony is, I was afraid that traveling anywhere with coronavirus on the rise would be risky and tedious. Well, here I am standing in front of you all today. I'd carry this guilt with me. What if I had just followed Cydni's lead and committed to making the trip out? I know that this is the grief talking. And I know that what happened is out of my control. But my mind tends to wonder. Ultimately, this isn't fair. This darkness that exists in all of us, it isn't fair. When I spoke to Cydni on the phone for the last time, she told me that she had read one of my stories that I'd written in college and how she was really drawn to one of the minor characters. This young girl who is sitting on the floor of the law office, patterning the carpet with her church shoes. Cydni said to me, "The girl who needs a priest," because that's what I had described her as. "Is that me?" I said, no, you're the main character. So there's a scene in the story that I wrote specifically for Cydni. And I feel that it deserves to be read today for its message, the message that I wanted her to understand. And so, the main character's name is Ela, because I couldn't call her Cydni. That would just be a bad authorship. Ela kissed Jared on the neck and found her nidification in the sheets. Comfortably wedged between 3 pillows, one for each side and one for her head, she fell asleep. She fell asleep because of the Ambien. She tossed around, even after a considerable time had passed since she took the drug. She fell asleep and her dreams talked. "Do you know what I think about it?" Percy says from the window of her bedroom. "It," she says, sitting up with slight alarm. "Yes, it. Deserves no other name. It," she repeats carefully. "Imagine it is that spot underneath your big toe, the spot where there's always a sliver of dirt or sock fibers, carefully wedged between your toenail." Ela pulls her foot out from underneath the sheets. There's a small black clump in the divide between her red painted nail and pale skin. Percy continues. "And whatever it is, you want it out. You want it out because you want to be clean. You want to uphold that image of yourself that no one sees but you and God. So you clip the nail back and start pulling at it. You pull at it, yet there's always some that remains. But you're ambitious. You keep tugging. You keep tearing it out, and it keeps coming out bit by bit, strand by strand, until you realize that the crevice of your toenail is only the outside surface of this thing. It goes far deeper than you would care to concern yourself with at the present time. But it's too late to turn back. Curiosity is getting the better of you. The more you pull, the higher it goes, and now you feel it running down your leg. It scrapes against bone as if nails to a chalkboard, your bone. And now it really hurts, but you become an addict. You feel it in your gut now. This is the last of it. This must be ended, the defining truth. I must be getting to the root of the issue here. And then you feel it. It is as if noticing a 1-degree shift in the temperature. This pluck of a string, the smallest little string, it is in your heart. You hesitate and then give it a small pull, and you feel your life nearly slip away. It is structural. Percy stands at the window. He overlooks the city. He turns and he smiles and he holds up his hand. Pinched between his thumb and index is a complete strand of black. It goes out the window, down to the ground level, and stretches out across the city. He draws it upwards, as if delicately clutching the reins of a cantering horse, as it dips its head to plant its limbs. And the world seems to rise and fall as if in tow. "Now you," he says, and the expression of delight on his face turns dark as he hands Ela his closed fist. And she takes whatever it is he holds, and she falls. She falls, and the horse comes down with her, screaming. She is welded onto its back as it tumbles, but she has no power, no control, and can only watch. It lays out before her over that melody crunch, under the scarlet sunrise, down the gentle slope of the hill just beyond the tree line. The horse screams with Ela as she jolted out of her sleep into the dumbfounded arms of Jared as he frantically tried to gather her to her senses, and they wept. They wept together, he for the hour and she for the time. So this is the scene where Ela dreams of a darkness that exists within her, and she envisions a way to tear it out, but darkness is structural. We do not exist without it, and we certainly do not have a way to remove it from our minds, just that no dark thought should ever arise. It's not that darkness is so overwhelming that we cannot do what is right. It is that sometimes you cannot control it. It is a wild stallion kicking around in your gut, rendering you powerless. The ending to this story doesn't have to be so grim. There is light in this story, and my hope that this light transforms and becomes a refuge for those who seek shelter. This story can continue and does continue in Texas, where you will find Cydni's joyous light, her only daughter, Violet K. Freeland. Darkness has not claimed any victory this Christmas season. Cydni's story continues. And when you hurt under the surface, think about this story of hers, this legacy she has left behind. Because at the end of the day, it is the promise of life, the gift of life that we leave behind for future generations that matters. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. At this time, please watch this video slideshow.
I searched for love when the night came and it closed in. I was alone, but you found me where I was hiding. And now I'll never ever be the same. It was the sweetest voice that called my name, saying, "You're not alone, for I am here. Let me wipe away your every fear. My love, I've never left your side. I have seen you through the darkest night. Try to hold on easy as I let you go. Gonna tell you how much I love you, though you think you already know. I remember I thought you looked like an angel wrapped in pink, so soft and warm. You've had me wrapped around your finger since the day you were born. You're beautiful, baby, from the outside in. Chase your dreams, but always know the road that'll lead you home again. Go on, take on this old world, but to me, you know you'll always be my little girl. When you were in trouble, that crooked little smile could melt my heart of stone. Now look at you, I've turned around and you've almost grown. Sometimes you're asleep, I whisper I love you in the moonlight at your door. As I walk away, I hear you say, Daddy, love you more. You're beautiful, baby, from the outside in. Chase your dreams, but always know the road that'll lead you home again. Go on, take on this whole world, but to me, you know you'll always be my little girl. Someday some boy will come and ask me for your hand, but I won't say yes to him unless I know he's the half that makes you whole. He has a poet's soul and the heart of a man's man. I know he'll say that he's in love, but between you and me, he won't be good enough. You're beautiful, baby, from the outside in. Chase your dreams, but always know the road that'll lead you home again. Go on, take on this old world, but to me, you know you'll always be my little girl. I'm going on during this time. I feel there's no one to save me. This all and nothing really got away. You're driving me crazy. I need somebody to hear, somebody to know, somebody to have, somebody to hold. It's easy to say, but it's never the same. I guess I kinda like the way you numbed all the pain. Now the day bleeds into nightfall, and you're not here to get me through it all. I let my guard down, and then you pulled the rug. I was getting kinda used to being someone you loved. I'm going under, and this time I feel there's no one to turn to. This all and nothing way of loving, go be sleeping without you. Now I need somebody to know, somebody to hear, somebody to have, just to know how it feels. It's easy to say, but it's never the same. I guess I kinda like the way you help me escape. Now the day bleeds into nightfall, and you're not here to get me through it all. I let my guard down, and then you pulled the rug. I was getting kinda used to being someone you loved, and I tend to close my eyes when it hurts. Sometimes I fall into your arms. I'll be safe in your soul till I come back around. For now the day bleeds into nightfall, and you're not here to get me through it all. I let my guard down, and then you pulled the rug. I was getting kinda used to being someone you love, but now the day bleeds into nightfall, and you're not here to get me through it all. I let my guard down, and then you pulled the rug. I was getting kinda used to being someone you loved. I let my guard down, and then you pulled the rug. I was getting kinda used to being someone you loved. I fell by the wayside like everyone else. I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, but I was just kidding myself. Our every moment I started a place, 'cause now that they're gone, all I hear were the words that I needed to say. When you hurt under the surface, like troubled water running cold. Well, time can heal, but this won't. So before you go, was there something I could have said to make your heart beat better? If only I'd have known you were the storm to weather. So before you go, was there something I could have said to make it all stop hurting? It kills me how your mind can make you feel so worthless. So before you go, was never the right time, whenever you're cold. Went little by little by little until there was nothing at all. Our every moment I started to play, but all I can think about is seeing that look on your face. When you hurt under the surface, like troubled water running cold. Well, time can heal, but this won't. So before you go, was there something I could have said to make your heart beat better? If only I'd have known you were the storm to weather. So before you go, was there something I could
That was beautiful. Hannah Mayfield.
Hi, everybody. I am one of the many lives that was touched by Miss Cydni K. It is with a very heavy and unglued heart standing here today and reminiscing the time shared with Cydni. First, I would like to talk about the friendship and the fun, loving, and goofy personality she carried herself with. Being blessed with her friendship and contagious personality at such a young age has left me with countless memories and beautiful stories, one of which I'd like to share with y'all today. On this day, God brought Cydni, her mom, and I all together, and the look on Cydni's face when I surprised her brought back to Cydni right there in that moment that we all know and love. I remember sitting there watching her talk and laugh and just thinking how blessed I was that God brought her back to me that day. The smile and the happiness on her face will be the memory that holds me together until I get to see her again. I never wanted that day to end. Being able to share a safe moment together, as we did so many times in the past, made it a memory none of us will ever forget. I know that day was just as important and memorable for her as it was for her mom and I. God did nothing short of blessing all three of our lives that day. I want to thank Kelly and Roland for blessing this world with such an amazing soul that each one of us got a chance to know and love. Her spirit will live on through each one of us until we meet her again. I could stand here for hours and talk about all the beautiful moments we shared together, but we have more memories than we have time here today. I will forever cherish the ridiculous dress-up dance parties that Cydni, Haley, and I would have at your house when we were supposed to be at school. I'm sorry. And the times she would come to my soccer games with ginormous signs and cheer me on, and the countless hilarious videos and photos I will forever hold on to. Thank you for giving me a moment to share just a few of many memories that I will forever hold near and dear to my heart. We love you so much, Cydni K. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Hannah. Sierra Olson.
All right. So I decided to read a letter that I wrote to Cydni. Cydni K. My heart is deeply aching, as is everyone else's. I have rewritten this so many times, trying to depict the most beautiful way to express what I feel and the kind of friendship we shared for the last 12 years. You will always be my best friend. Thank you for showing me a love I had never known before. And thank you for showing me what it means to have somebody who has your back, loves you unconditionally, and sticks by your side. I feel like we're back in middle school in Mr. Pritchard's class writing notes to each other. Although this time I know you're not here for me to receive one back. But you know what? I have about a few hundreds of notes, letters, videos, and beautiful pictures to read and to love throughout the rest of my life. Your birthday is coming up soon. And one of the years that come to mind is your 13th. And the video you and I made, we waited till midnight just to record it, being all goofy, singing happy birthday to you. In that office, on that Apple computer. We all know about that computer. I remember that night, we promised each other we'd spend every single birthday together for the rest of our lives. You were incredible. Your humor was undeniably goofy and never failed to make anybody smile. You were full of adventure. Oh, you lit up the room. And your heart was special, and you made a lot of people feel special, loved, and truly cared for. You were beautiful in every way. I wish you were here so I could tell you again and wrap my arms around you and never let go. I wish I could hear your laugh. I hear it over and over in my head. I wish that I could see your smile. I wish I could hear the words of advice you'd given me throughout all of these years. I have many messages from you, many words. Many times I've come to you and you simply had the most beautiful way of helping lift my spirit. There is one message in particular, one that I think maybe every one of your loved ones here can hold on to, as well as one that I will read for all of my days. You told me, and I quote, "I do know you're the strongest woman I know, and I know you'll be okay. And I know you'll get through this and come out even stronger. You always have me to talk to and lean on. Don't forget I'm here. I'm never going anywhere, so don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to come to me. Cydni, you are embedded in my heart forever. And I will speak words into the sky and embrace every single moment, knowing that you will always be with me. You will always be with your family. You will always be with Violet, and you will always be with Ava. You will always be with every single one of us. Your smile and your spirit was contagious, so contagious that I believe we all can take a piece of you with us throughout the rest of our lives. We will never stop loving you. We will never stop missing you. We will never stop talking to you. I will see you on the other side. I love you so much, Cydni Freeland."
Thank you, Sierra. At this point, this microphone is now open for any of you. All you have to do is come up here, tell a little story, just say how much you loved Cydni or a message to her family. All you have to do is come up. It's okay, somebody needs to be first.
I'm gonna need like a box of tissues. Okay, I remember just always thinking that Carly and I were gonna die together because we're soulmates, and Cydni would be doing this for us. So it's a little weird. But I'm an only child, and I didn't come from a very strong household. But the Freelands took me in, and they made me one of their daughters. I spent countless hours on that Apple computer making videos with Cydni, laughing because she was laughing. It was just contagious that she was laughing. But there's so many strong memories that we have together where our bond was just unbreakable. And my mom was sick and she was dying. And I just needed a break, and I was up at the house by myself, and I brought Cydni over from her dad's, and we went in my truck, and we were laying in the back of my truck just watching the stars, and she was just letting me cry and just talk to her. And she just held me for a minute, and she's like, you don't always have to be so strong. It's okay to have these moments. And I just continued to cry, and I was like, I don't really want to talk about it right now. She's like, that's okay. The moon right now is waxing. And I had no idea what that meant. And she had taught me about the moon and how it's waxing and waning and all these different things. And she was, to me, my little sister. So I'm like, you can't teach me stuff. You can't tell me I'm not supposed to be strong. I'm supposed to be strong for you. She was our little sweet girl. And I know it was like total shock when I found out. To me, she was invincible, and her spirit always will be to me. She was one of the kindest souls on this planet. And I know that she would want us all to remember the positive times and just show that love for her and shed some tears if need be. But I think that the biggest message is just to reach out to everybody that you love. And I know that there were times that I kind of beat myself up for reaching out and not checking in with her or doing little things like that. And as Adam said, I know it's the grief talking, but we did always make sure that she was included, even if she made sure herself. And I just think that including the people that you love and reminding yourself the reasons that you love them and holding those people close is everything. And I'm so glad that Cydni taught me that. So thank you all for being here, because I know that she would love to see you all. But we love you, Cydni K, so much.
Manny's sister wrote a song for Cydni, and we were just gonna play it for you guys. That's okay.
So bright, weight of the world in her eyes, never really fitting quite right. Southern gal, fighter, fly, you ran away to the city, to the bay, and we wanted you home, but you had other plans, I know. Take you along. Stay up late, talking life, and how our families never caught our vibe. You spit fire when you spoke, said things that made people choke. I'm talking fearless and gorgeous, a deadly combination. We want you back, but we'll just have to be patient. 'Cause I saw you, and you saw me, and it's in your name, so be free.
We're in no rush here. If someone else would like to speak, just come on up. Anyone? At this point, Carly has a song that she would like to do. It's called Baby Sister, although your program actually misidentifies it as babysitter. Carly?
A little background. I was really missing my connection with my sister. And one day, this song came on. It's called Fate's Time by Beautiful Chorus, which is what I'll sing to. And I just started writing. It was messy, it was all over the place, but it actually sounded really good. And so at the end of it all, I would call Cydni, I would try to sing it to her. She never received it. I would probably sing it to her like 10 times, and she never fully received it. It was also not complete. But it wasn't until just recently, the 7 weeks that she stayed with me, it wasn't until the last time I actually sang it to her, she was just crying and she felt me and I felt her, and she saw what I created, and it was just a gift just to see her see me, just her coherently feeling me. So that was really beautiful, but it still was not done. The song was not done, and it wasn't until her passing that it was actually complete, like fully complete. So yeah, I'd love to share that with you all today. It's a poem, it's kind of a song, it is what it is. So whenever y'all can keep that on.
ancestor of ours now, walking amongst us. We can feel you in the trees and the leaves as they whistle, the birds when they sing. Every step I take is for you, with you. Thank you all so much for feeling around with me.
Thank you, Carly. That was beautiful. Kelly, Roland, the grief and the sense of loss you're feeling is very real. For all of us, Cydni's passing should compel us to consider our own mortality, our relationships, as well as our ultimate future. God's word, the Bible, tells us that in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And wow, what a beautiful, wonderful creation it is, full of beauty and mystery. You've seen the pictures of planets, stars, and galaxies spread across the vastness of space and time. And then think of the beauty of creation here on earth: mountains, valleys, forests, rivers, lakes, even the deep ocean, and then all the life across the planet. God's created beings include both angels that live primarily in the spiritual universe, as well as humans. We, of course, exist primarily in this physical universe. The culmination of creation was recorded in Genesis 1:27. So God created human beings in his image. But what does that mean, in his image? Well, I believe there's 4 ways that I want to talk about today. Number 1, creativity. God is creative. Look at his universe. And God gave creative talents to his created creatures. Artists and engineers, for example. And Cydni was creative in caring for animals. She made funny videos, and she was creative in helping others. Here's another important way that God made us like himself: immortality. Be assured that Cydni lives on. Each of us has a spirit within us that will exist for eternity, either with God or apart from him. It's a choice that we make before we pass. Here's a huge way that God made us like himself. This is the area of relationship. God created us for relationship, both with him and for each other. And I believe this is by far the most important way in which God made us like himself. Acts of love and our relationships with each other are the only things that we're going to be able to carry into eternity with us. Here's another area that God made us like himself: the area of free will. This, however, has turned into a problem area for humans. God gave us a free will, and he allows each of us to make our own decisions, go our own way, to do right or to do wrong. He allows us to either seek, ignore, or reject him. Early on, Lucifer, also known as Satan, led some of the angels to rebel against God. He then encouraged the first humans to disobey as well. Satan is the father of lies and the enemy of our souls. And ever since that first human disobedience, every person born on this planet is born with a sinful nature inside of them. This sin damaged creation, and the result is disease, death, and decay. This was not God's will, but it's a consequence of the first people making poor choices. This is the simple reason why bad things happen to good people. Ultimately, however, God's will and his love is going to prevail. God is no killjoy. He wants us each to have an abundant life. King Solomon, the wisest man of his age, wrote the book of Ecclesiastes, and I'm going to quote several verses that he wrote from chapter 3. God has made everything beautiful for its own time. He has planted eternity in the human heart, but even so, people cannot see the whole scope of God's work from beginning to end. So I concluded there is nothing better than to be happy and enjoy ourselves as long as we can. And people should eat, drink, and enjoy the fruits of their labor, for these are gifts from God. I'm sure you've noticed everyone is imperfect. Each of us has made mistakes, sometimes unintentionally, sometimes willfully. We've all missed the mark at times, and that's what sin is, missing the mark. God, however, is perfect. He's perfect in deed, and he's perfect in love. He never lies and cannot tolerate imperfection in his kingdom. So, how can we, imperfect humans, be accepted into God's presence? Fortunately, God had an amazing plan, and he accomplished it perfectly through his only Son, Jesus Christ. The Bible's New Testament details this new age of grace. The focus is now on faith, hope, and love. Let's talk about faith. Jesus, the Son of God, came to the earth 2,000 years ago to live as a human, and he alone was perfect in that he never sinned. In his death upon the cross, since he was perfect, he was able to pay the price for everyone's sins. That way we can be accepted into God's presence for eternity. To receive this promise, God requires us to have faith. Hebrews 11:6 tells us, and without faith it's impossible to believe God, because that anyone who comes to him must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who earnestly seek him. An eternal relationship with God does not require complex religious exercises. It's not based on how good you are or how many times you go to church. In the book of Romans, the basic requirements are simply stated. If you openly declare that Jesus is Lord and you believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. Jesus himself said that doing this resulted in your being spiritually born again. It is faith that leads to salvation. Cydni described her faith in Christ to her mom. The next area, hope. And our hope is based upon the fact that on the third day after Jesus' death and burial, he rose from the grave and is alive today. One time, Jesus was teaching his disciples, and it is quoted in John 14, verses 1 and 2. Don't let your hearts be troubled. Trust in God, trust also in me. There is more than enough room in my Father's house. If this were not so, would I have told you that I'm going to prepare a place for you? When one of Jesus' disciples expressed his doubts about finding his way to that place, Jesus told him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one can come to the Father except through me. If you have doubts are normal. Ask Jesus to help you overcome them. Jesus promised that through faith we would also be resurrected and live with him forever in heaven. The Apostle Paul wrote, yes, we are fully confident that and would rather be away from these earthly bodies, for then we will be at home with the Lord. That's 2 Corinthians 5:8. It is also written, no eye has seen, no ear has heard, no mind has imagined what God has prepared for those who love him. This is our hope. And now for love. While faith is essential, and hope is very encouraging. Love is the basis of God's nature and models how we should live. Listen to these verses from the first book of Corinthians, chapter 13. Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful or proud or rude. It does not demand its own way. It is not irritable and keeps no record of being wronged. It rejoices when the truth wins out. Love never gives up, never loses faith, is always hopeful, and endures through every circumstance. Now we see things imperfectly, like puzzling reflections in a broken mirror. But then we will see everything with perfect clarity. 3 things will last forever: faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love. In the last book of the Bible, Revelations, chapter 3, verse 20, Jesus is quoted as saying, "Look, I stand at the door and knock. If you hear my voice and open the door, I will come in and we will share a meal together as friends." The Apostle Paul reminds us in the book of Hebrews, chapter 13, verse 14, "For this world is not our permanent home. We are looking forward to a home yet to come." That's the home where Cydni is now. And once we have a relationship with Christ, God promises, and this is through the words of the Apostle Paul, "And I am convinced that nothing can ever separate us from God's love, neither death nor life, neither angels nor demons, neither our fears for today nor our worries about tomorrow. Not even the powers of hell can separate us from God's love." That's Romans 8:38. Listen for Jesus. Seek him. He's seeking you. Open the door of your heart to faith, hope, and love so that you can anticipate a reunion with Cydni in God's glorious eternal kingdom. Cydni's mom, Cydni Freeland, has some words for us.
First, I just want to say, in a time where I have felt nothing but torment, today I feel an abundance of love, and it's because each and every one of you have fulfilled that and given me that. And for that, I'm truly, truly grateful for every single one that sits here, not only in spirit, but also virtually, because this is happening virtually too. And the love just goes on, and I need that. So thank you. I really do. I appreciate that. I have a dear friend back home in Louisiana. We've been friends probably since Adam was a baby, so 28 years, 30 years now. I don't want to date myself.
Let's go with that.
Okay. In a time where I have really struggled to put my thoughts and my feelings coherently into some way to understand what has happened, because I'm going through all these emotions just like I'm sure you all are, but I'm mad. I'm pissed off. And I hurt because this is not what I wanted for this baby. This is not what I wanted. So my dear friend Charlotte, she's so eloquent, and she wrote me the most beautiful message. And I'm going to share some of it with you because it really resonates with me, and I hope it does with you. And then at the end of that, I'm going to share something that actually Cydni wrote in her last week, that when I read it, it means everything to me, and I will share that with you. So when Cydni was a newborn, I had her dedicated at church. The pastor held her up and gave her to God. My prayer was that God would watch over her and protect her from all danger and all evil. Cydni went to church. She knew who God was. She knew how powerful he was and still is. I'll never really truly know what transpired the last few years of Cydni's deep, dark life. Many of us tried to reach her, and I know you did. And for that, I'm also grateful, because you didn't have to, and you did, and that means a lot. I believe that in those last few years, in my heart, I believe that she was still crying out to him in desperation. And there was a lot of desperation. I have to believe that he was by her side on that last night, that last day. I believe he never left her. He was always with her. I know that she survived the most horrible darkness, truly, only by his intervening hand. I won't know the conversations she had with him, but I know that he was willing to change her in the split moment of time if she would have just said, "Okay, God, it's time." I don't know if those words ever came, but I think they did. On December 14th, I choose to believe that she had a final conversation with him. I choose to believe he took her into his arms, into eternal safety. I truly believe he gladly took her in and gave her shelter. I truly believe that she is safe now, where no harm will ever happen to her again, that no evil person can use her for their selfish gain, and that there's no shame and there's no guilt anymore. I think she's finally telling me, "Hey, Mama, I'm free." So this is Cydni. If you all know her penmanship, it's like a 2-year-old. So, but I love it. So she's kind of all over the place, but that's okay. I'm just going to share what it is. Emotionally flawed. Look, I'm scarred. Pushed past the point of receiving. I'm just being. All that I am is everything that I am. I am just being. I am just being. Now I am believing, finally seeing. Emotionally flawed. Look, I am scarred. Pushed past the point of receiving. I am just still being. Finally seeing. Being past the point of returning, tossing and turning. I am yearning for more. Hope this won't leave me laid out on the floor. Just open the door. Emotionally flawed. Look, I'm scarred. Pushed past the point of receiving. But I am a human being. Stop this misleading, this mistreating. Here I am, and it's finally freeing. Emotionally flawless. Look, I'm scarless. Pushing for everyone's receiving. We're all just being whole human beings. And then at the end she says, taking the shackles off me. I will not just be. She tried. Just know that she tried.
Kelly, the love you shared with your daughter is amazing. God bless you. Kelly, Roland, Adam, Carly, the rest of your family and Cydni's friends, they mourn with you. In addition, there's that profound sense about what might have been if Cydni had been able to recover and live her full potential of years. It's important, though, say no to thoughts of guilt, shame, contempt, or condemnation. Instead, treasure Cydni's memories. Share them and keep them alive in your hearts. Thankfully, Cydni leaves a legacy of her love through her daughter, Violet. Love, pray, support, and encourage Violet all through your remaining years. Love and relationships are the most important facets of our lives. And as much as it's up to you, seek to repair any broken relationships you may have in your lives. Like true love, grief never ends, but it does change. Grief is a passage and not a place to stay. Grief is not a sign of weakness, nor a lack of faith. It is the price of love. And I see that today's services brought many emotions to the surface. Don't be afraid to show them and to share them. Please bow your heads with me so that we can close in prayer. Thank you, Heavenly Father, that we can bring you glory by celebrating the life and the love of Cydni. We thank you that she is in your presence now, beyond the reach of struggle and pain. In fact, Cydni is experiencing peace, love, and joy in the arms of Jesus beyond anyone's imagination. Please guide, protect, and encourage Violet as she grows. Help her to seek you as her ultimate Father. Inspire us, Father, to seek you so that we can be reunited with Cydni in your glorious, eternal kingdom. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you so much for being here today to support the family and support each other. And I want to thank you on my behalf, Josh, your funeral director, as well as the entire staff here at Miller Funeral Home. God bless you, and we thank you for allowing us to participate in these services here today. May God bless you all. Keep Cydni's memory alive. Your words today were so beautiful, so appropriate. Thank you very much, and I know that Cydni's family appreciates it very much. God keep you and bless you the rest of today and into the future. Thank you. Thank you for your beautiful work.